Okay, what if I told you that you could completely change your entire relationship with money in just 60 seconds a day? Seriously. No complicated budgets, no restrictive, painful plans. Today, we're going to break down a super simple morning habit that can literally rewire your financial brain. And the best part? It won't cost you a single dime. But first, let's kind of set the stage here and talk about the problem. For so many of us, our finances create this constant low-grade anxiety. We're either stress checking our accounts all the time or we avoid looking at them completely. Both of those reactions, well, they stem from the exact same core issue. So let me ask you this, and really think about it for a second. When was the last time you calmly checked your bank account? And I don't mean that panic check at the grocery store checkout or a 2 a.m. anxiety scroll through your phone. I mean a deliberate, calm, okay, here's where I stand kind of look. If it's been a while, you are definitely not alone, and it's actually a much bigger deal than you might realize. This analogy, it's just perfect. You would never, ever drive a car blindfolded, right? And yet, that's exactly how many of us manage our money. We make countless small decisions every single day, coffees, lunches, another subscription, with really no idea of their real-time impact. And look, this isn't just a vague feeling, it's a hard fact. A 2022 study found that a whopping 63% of Americans are off by more than $500 when they try to guess their own checking account balance. I mean, think about that. You just can't get to your financial goals if you don't even know where you're starting from. So, how do we fix this? How do we get that crucial feedback we're missing? Well, the solution is so much simpler than you think. It's really not about discipline or willpower. It's all about creating a simple feedback loop. This right here, this is the entire habit. I call it the morning money minute. Every morning, within the first hour of waking up, you just observe 3 numbers and write them down. That's it. No judgment, no spreadsheets, no complex planning. Just observe. So, what are these magic numbers we're tracking? Just 3 things that give you a complete, honest snapshot of your financial health: your daily cash on hand, your total debt, and your future investments. And remember, the goal here is to just observe, not to have some big emotional reaction. Okay, now let's get into the really cool part, the science of why this actually works. This isn't just some neat little trick. It's a method that's based on how your brain is literally wired to change its own behavior subconsciously. It all really hinges on this fascinating psychological principle called the Hawthorne Effect. And the core idea is simple. Just the act of observing something changes it. Think about it. When you know someone's watching you work a little bit harder, right? When you start tracking your steps, you just naturally start walking more. So by simply measuring your finances every day, your brain starts to optimize them, almost automatically. Let's get even more specific. Deep inside your brain, there is a region called the anterior cingulate cortex, or the ACC. The easiest way to think of it is as your brain's internal conflict monitor. Its entire job is to sound an alarm when your actions don't line up with your long-term goals. And here's how that works in real life. Let's say you really want to save money, but you're tempted by some impulse buy. Well, your ACC is what creates that uncomfortable feeling, that little pang we call cognitive dissonance. But here's the catch. If your brain doesn't have up-to-date financial data, the ACC can't really do its job. Daily awareness gives it the fuel it needs to nudge you, gently, toward better choices. And that is why the Morning Money Minute is so different from, and let's be honest, often way more effective than, traditional financial advice like making a strict budget. See, traditional budgeting is prescriptive. It tells you exactly what to do, and it relies on willpower, which we all know is a very limited resource. This observational method? Totally different. It feels effortless because it taps into your brain's amazing ability to self-correct as long as it has the right information. Here's a great way to think about it. Studies have shown that people who weigh themselves every day tend to lose more weight. Not because they're on some strict diet, but because that daily data point subtly influences all the little food choices they make throughout the day. Well, the exact same principle applies to your money. And we have the hard data to back this up. A study from Duke University found that people who simply checked their debt balance every single morning paid it down more than twice as fast as people who were given a standard, complex budgeting plan. That's how powerful pure awareness is. So, okay, what's the long-term impact of all this? Let's just say this tiny 60-second habit helps you save just 5% more of your income. Over 20 years, that small shift could add an extra $140,000 to your net worth. I mean, that is a huge return for just 1 minute a day. All right, you know the why, you know the how. Now it's time to actually take action. Let's talk about how to start this habit and, more importantly, how to make it stick. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. Look at my debt every single day. No thank you. That feeling, it is completely normal. It's a real psychological bias called the ostrich effect. It's that urge to leave a scary-looking bill on the counter unopened for days, as if not seeing it makes it not real. We are just wired to avoid potentially painful information. But here's the tough love, right? The numbers are what they are, whether you look at them or not. Ignoring them doesn't make them go away. It just removes your power to do anything about them. Facing that data, that's the first step to actually changing it. And I promise you, after a couple of weeks, that anxiety, it'll start to fade, and they'll just become numbers on a page, nothing more. So to make this habit automatic, you're going to use a technique called habit stacking. You just link this new 60-second routine to something you already do every single morning, like making coffee. Then make it easy on yourself. Put your banking apps on your home screen. And finally, and this is a big one, physically writing the numbers down really helps lock them into your brain. So here is your challenge. Just commit to this for 30 days. That's it. Set a recurring alarm on your phone right now. Seriously, do it now. And then tomorrow morning, when it goes off, just observe and write down your 3 numbers. And then repeat. I guarantee by day 30, it'll be an automatic habit. And by day 90, you'll wonder how you ever managed your financial life without it. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What could you build? What could you pay off? What kind of peace of mind could you gain if you just gave yourself 60 seconds of clarity each day?